Hi there, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the RipCurl Freelite range of wetsuits for 2021. So the RipCurl Freelite is a new addition to the RipCurl range last year, and essentially brought in as a more budget or entry-level wetsuit for people that perhaps are just getting into the sport or maybe just shopping on a budget but still want a decent quality wetsuit. It's available for men, women and kids, and it's available in a few different thicknesses, okay? So you've got the 5.3, the 4.3 and the 3.2 thickness. Those numbers indicate the millimetre thick on the wetsuit. So 5mm on the lower body, and 3mm on the upper body, and 3mm on the lower body, and so on. So this suit is a 3mm in the lower body, and then 2mm when you need more flexibility in the upper body. The 5.3, 3.2 and 4.3 are all available in a glued and blind stitched seam, which means a sealed seam, because it's more important with sort of a thicker or steamer wetsuits that are for winter to keep water out. And then the 3.2 is available in a cheaper option in the flat lock seam. And the flat lock seam is a breathable seam, so it lets in water. It's cheaper to reproduce the wetsuits, but it does mean that wetsuit is only really conducive to using in a summer wetsuit or a thinner, lighter weight wetsuit for warmer water, but it does make it cheaper. We'll show you both sort of seam constructions and the benefits of both as we go along. But essentially that is the Freelite range of wetsuits, okay? It comes in underneath the Omega, and they're basically making a wetsuit for as cheap as they can while still remaining good quality. And how they do that is the type of neoprene, which is actually called the Freelite neoprene, okay? It's been around for a while, and Freelite neoprene isn't, as you can imagine, as flexible as the wetsuit neoprene that they use in the more expensive wetsuits such as the E-Bomb or the Flash Bomb, or even the upper body of the RipCurl Omega. It's slightly coarse to the touch, and it doesn't have as much flexibility. But having said that, it's still very flexible for a cheaper wetsuit, and it's still very nice and soft to the touch. But as you can imagine, the more money that you spend, the more flexible neoprene becomes, the more comfortable the wetsuit becomes, and the more technical features that you get. The reason being, the actual air, or the amount of air inside the neoprene itself, there isn't as many cells of air, okay? But having said that, it's still got that flexibility and it's still proper neoprene. You do get really cheap wetsuits, which you can buy in like supermarkets and petrol stations, and essentially that's just melted rubber. There's no air infused into that rubber, so it's got no give whatsoever, and it's horrible fits, and basically they will feel terrible when they're on. Whereas something with a Freelite, it's obviously a bit cheaper, but it's still good quality, flexible, soft neoprene, okay? And that's 100% of the way through the suit. Okay, so going back to the stitching of the wetsuits, what we'll do is sort of explain again the difference between the two. So in the 3.2, you do have a flat lock option. If we zoom in here, you have a look at the flat lock seam. The flat lock seam basically is easy to manufacture or reproduce. Two pieces of neoprene are butted up together and they're stitched the whole way through. It's very robust, but obviously those punch holes go the whole way through the suit, so the water will come in through that suit. It's breathable seam. So that's the reason they only tend to use it sort of in the 3.2 or in the warmer water wetsuits. What we're going to do now, come back out, and this is a GBS, or a glued and blind stitch wetsuit, and I say keeping the water out of the wetsuit is especially important with the thicker suits that are built for cold water, so the 5.3 and the 4.3 especially, but also if you want a decent quality 3.2, the GBS, the glued and blind stitch option is available there as well. So we'll zoom in on the seams for the GBS suit as well, and have a little look there. And essentially what they do is on the outside of the suit, they stitch the wetsuit normally halfway through. This is the inside of the wetsuit, and we can see what they do then is they actually glue the weld or the seam shut halfway through as well. And that just keeps any water from coming in the suit, so you don't get any water penetrating the seam, which is especially important with the 5mm wetsuits. So 100% Freelite neoprene the whole way through, so a good degree of flexibility. Minimal paneling, or as minimal amounts of paneling as they can in the wetsuit. In the more expensive wetsuit, you might get the smooth skin neoprene and you'll get less stitching, so less restriction. But having said that, the seams that they do put into the suit are well thought out. They're bent to match the contours of the body, down the arm, and so they don't mess with any flexibility and don't give any restriction basically. So nice still big panels of neoprene. So that's around the back of the wetsuit. Nice big panels of neoprene, okay? And as I said before, the thicker neoprene on the lower body. One thing that's worth mentioning, you get the Duraflex knee pad, which is particularly good if you're learning to surf or if you're learning any water sport, and you will use your knees when you're popping up quite a lot, or if you're duck diving, that kind of thing, and it will just stop any wear and tear on the most vulnerable part of the suit. Around the back, you can see it's a back zip wetsuit, and that's pretty much through the whole of the Freelite range. The back zip suits are much more popular with people that are sort of getting into the sport. It's much easier to get on and off. They're cheaper to manufacture, but they still do a great job. And it's a Velcro neck, and that's adjustable, obviously tighter or looser depending on the thickness of your neck. And then the zip comes really far down with the suit, meaning it opens up nice and wide and it's easy to get in and out of. The zip itself is a specially treated zip. It's a PK zip, and they're specifically designed for water sports so that they don't corrode with salt and they won't sort of break, and they're waterproof as well, so minimise the amount of water coming into the wetsuit itself. Okay. One really cool touch that you do get with the Freelite is a back panel, and that's a back piece of neoprene sewn underneath the zip. And so you get in through here. That means that any water that's coming in through the zip or through the collar, instead of going into the suit, will meet the back panel and be guided out of the wetsuit down the bottom of the zip there. Okay, so it's a nice touch. And one thing that's really cool as well is they actually sew the zip to the top of that back panel. So when you're getting out of the suit, you should be able to reach around and always be able to grab it without it dangling around your bum and struggling to actually grab hold of the lanyard. So it's right there, and that zips up nice and fast. A piece of Velcro here as well, so you can fold the neck in on itself, and that'll stop any sort of like bauble on the wetsuit as well, so it's worth noting. It's a single line collar, one piece of neoprene, so nice and comfy on your neck and won't be too restrictive. What we'll do, we'll turn the wetsuit inside out, have a little look and see what's going on the inside. Okay, so here we have the inside of a kid's wetsuit. Okay, as I say, all of the different thicknesses and everything are available for the kids and women as well. Again, you've got that glued and blind stitch welding with this seam. You've got the Freelite neoprene the whole way through. Now, one thing that you do get with expensive wetsuits or more expensive wetsuits is you get like a flat taping across all of the seams. That taping is really good at giving more of a durable seam. It's also comfortable against the skin, and it's also better at keeping water out and sealing the wetsuit seam as well. Okay, you do get that with this wetsuit, but you only get it on the critical areas. So you'll get that around the junctures or the joints that tend to be more prone to pulling apart. So especially around the crotch, that area around the bum where you're sitting on a surfboard and it's really stretching the seam. So you do get that, but you only tend to get that on the critical areas. Again, you kind of get what you pay for. With this suit, you can see the back panel there as well, which comes up underneath, and that sits underneath the zip and just stops any water coming in. And it's also nice and comfy against the skin as well. So you do get that back panel even with the Freelite, which is a really nice touch. And one thing that's worth noting as well, with the kids' wetsuit, you get a zipped ankle, okay? So that opens up nice and wider, so you can get your kids' feet through nice and easy, and it's easy to pop your wetsuit boot underneath and zip it back over the top. But it's just a nice little feature to get your kids in and out of the wetsuit as easy as possible. If you're looking for an entry-level wetsuit just to get you started, and you don't have a great deal of budget, this wetsuit will still insulate you because the neoprene has air bubbles inside. It will still give a lot of flexibility, but obviously it's not going to be good as, say, something like the Omega or Dawn Patrol as you move up through the range. And there's no thermal lining, it's kind of stripped down, but a good quality, cheap entry-level wetsuit, the Freelite for 2021. If you'd like us to sort of mention any other wetsuits or review any other wetsuits, do comment below, and watch out for some new videos coming through in 2021 about as the new stock arrives. Lots of exciting new wetsuits for this summer and this spring, so check back in, and that's the RipCurl Freelite for 2021.